Welcome back to the Wedding Buzz. It's your host, Sydney, and today I have JP and Heather from Wellington Florist. Wellington Florist is a trusted name in the Palm Beach area for stunning wedding and event florals, and I am so excited to dive in. Thank you so much for being here.
Happy to be here, Sydney.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So let's just dive in. Tell me a little bit about Wellington Florist. I know you said you're third generation.
That's right.
So who started it? When did it get started?
Wellington Florist was opened in 1991 by my parents, Dean and Melinda. And just want to start off by saying I'm a third generation florist. It goes back in my family, back to New York. Both my parents are from New York. My dad was a florist in Manhattan, New York City, Jackson Heights, Queens. His family had a shop.
That's where my mom's from.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, I'm partially Greek, and that was a big Greek neighborhood, and a lot of Greeks owned flower shops and diners. So there is a ethnic legacy there. Back when my dad was like probably 30, a little younger maybe, he moved down to Fort Lauderdale, and he was the general manager of a big chain of florists called Bunning the Florist. I think there was like 9 or 11 locations from anywhere from Fort Lauderdale to Miami. And that's where I met my mom. This is in the late 70s. And, they started dating, and, my mom was like an order taker, data entry kind of person, and my dad was the manager of the shop, running the shop. They started dating, and they left the company and opened their own flower shop. I think they purchased an existing flower shop down in Fort Lauderdale, like in 1979 or 1980. Like that was the year I was born, actually. I was born in 1980. They purchased their first shop together. They ran that for about 10 years and then moved to Wellington in 1991. I was 11 years old, and they opened Wellington Florist.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so same location. It's been there since the entire time. What is that, 34 years now? It's really amazing. It started off with 700 or 900 square feet, about the size of our new PGA location up here. It started as a really small little footprint. And my parents came up here to check it out. They looked at Boca, they looked at Jupiter. They saw Wellington, and what my dad always said sealed the deal was, he's looking at the shop, and a guy rides his horse up to the plaza and like hitches the horse to a bike rack. And he's like, this is so cool. This is where we're coming. And the rest is history. So I joined the company in 2000, and I always mix it up. Is it 2002 or 2000? I think it was 2003. I was 23 years old. And I had come from a brief career in hospitality. I always wanted to be a chef. I grew up during like Emeril Lagasse and like the new fad of celebrity chefs. That was like a new thing when, in the 90s.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be a chef. I worked in restaurants. I actually went to the CIA, the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York. Had a great experience there. I attribute a lot of my success as a florist to that school and my background in hospitality. I graduated, and at some point I moved back to Palm Beach County, and I was the sous chef of Cafe Chardonnay right across the street here on PGA Boulevard.
Very cool.
We had 9/11 happen, a little dip in the economy. Restaurant business was slow. And I remember my parents saying, do you want to come? I was trying to get my own catering company off the ground. I was trying to do like something on the side, like my own little entrepreneurial side hustle. And I was cooking for rich people in their homes on the weekends. And it was quiet, and I only worked every like 1 or 2 weekends a month, and maybe bartending a shift or two a week somewhere, trying to get my business off the ground. My parents were like, come answer the phone for Mother's Day. And this must have been Mother's Day 2023. Again, 23 years old. And I went there and answered the phone for Mother's Day, and I just never left.
In 2003?
I'm sorry, did I say 20? Yeah. I think I do that all the time.
That's okay.
2003, a long time ago.
I was like, wait, you've been doing this for more than 3 years.
There's probably lots of brides listening that weren't even born. Yeah. 2003, I began my career as a florist, and I grew up in the flower shop. I would go to the middle school right up the street, in the high school, and I would walk there after school and sweep the floor and prep containers and do little things like that. Although I wanted to work in a restaurant by the time I was old enough to have a job. But I never imagined I would get into the business. It was always a hard no. Never thought that I would want to do it, but I ended up really liking it. I ended up picking it up immediately. Within a year, I'm making very, very competent designs. I learned I am a designer.
Mm-hmm.
I do actually work hands-on with the arrangements. And I'm a very good designer.
Yeah.
I picked it up right away, and I really feel like my training in culinary taught me how to run the business too.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the creative part down. That's kind of intuitive. It does take training, of course. Education's a big part of it, but I feel that the training in hospitality helped me run a business, which is important. There's a lot of florists out there that are very talented designers, but are very stressed out running their business. So there's two parts of it. And I feel that I have a firm grasp on kind of both sides. So, so I'm very lucky that way. I'm very fortunate that way.
Yeah. I can also see that, like, I feel like being a chef, like you said, the leadership, like you have to run the kitchen and the management side of it. It's also creative, which flowers is creative.
Sure, sure.
So I can see you wouldn't maybe immediately see the similarities, but now that you're talking, I'm like, actually, I can see how you shifted over from.
It's a direct parallel. I've said it for many years. I've taken a lot of tricks that I've learned in culinary school and applied them to this industry, and I don't think a lot of florists think the way I do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's led to tremendous success. I mean, Wellington Florist has grown over 1,000% since those days back in the original shop when I joined it. It's really remarkable.
That's amazing. Well, congratulations on all of that. That's very cool. Sorry to ask personal questions. Are you married?
Yes.
Your wife has a guy that knows how to cook and knows how to make flowers.
Well, honestly, my wife was a big reason for me going to work at the flower shop. I was working nights, like I said, I was bartending. I met my wife. Bartending isn't, you're working late. She's a high school teacher. She's working early. I never saw her. And I was like, this is nice. I was working days at the flower shop. I'm like, this is really nice. And that's a big part of it, really. My wife was a big part of me being a florist. So I have to I have to attribute some of that to her.
Yeah. It's funny because that's where my husband and I are. I mean, he's not bartending, but he was working a job that's like 9 to 9 car business, 9 to 9, like 6 days a week. And I'm like, I want kids and this isn't going to work. So we're trying to find something else.
It's hard in
Us
the beginning.
Wives.
Yeah.
Pain in the butt.
It's hard and it'll get better.
Yes, I'm sure he'll figure it out. But that's amazing. I love hearing the backstory of how, like, your parents were into it and started it, and then you took over. And I feel like there's nothing like a family business.
Yeah.
Like, it just makes such a difference. There's a rental company around here. I'll shout them out, Infinity Event Decor. I love working with them. They're a family-run business, and you can just tell that, like, they're passionate about it. They're in it. My parents had a family-run business, and I worked there. Thought I'd be there forever. My dad had the audacity to sell it, but that's okay because I really love weddings, and it made me shift over to this.
Yeah.
But
and the family. It goes back even further than that. Just real quick, I know my grandfather started in the flower business after World War II. He was a veteran. Yeah. He fought in Germany. He came back to the States and got in the flower business.
Yeah.
I think he had. He's not alive anymore. I wish I could ask him more questions. He had brothers and uncles, and there was a bunch of people from related somehow that owned a couple flower shops in the Queens, New York City area. So he also was a wholesaler on 28th Street. Manhattan, the flower district.
Okay.
So it's pretty interesting. I wish I knew more about that history to add to the Wellington Florist annals, but it's maybe I can find out more one day. Find out somebody that knew them, but it's getting harder. Yeah,
it's getting harder. That's funny. My mom, I don't know New York that well, but I know she's from Jackson Heights, like Queens area. And Heather.
Yes.
Let's talk about your role, because you work at Wellington Florist, and you are the lead for weddings, right?
Yes. So I started in November of 2024. And I started off as seasonal help, and quickly, like 2 weeks in, JP was like, all right, so what do you really want to do? And I said, I want to do events and weddings. And he was like, great. Go for it. So I am now the wedding and special event coordinator at Wellington Florist.
That's amazing. I'm so glad that you are in that role, because it's a lot of work to, like, network and make connections, but it's so important. And I live in Wellington, and we hadn't before recently. We hadn't connected, so I'm so glad that we had. And I don't even remember how did you reach out to me?
I think so. I was trying to remember like how we first met, and I don't really remember.
Oh, I think it was the bridal store, and we missed each other, but you somehow knew I was there. And
so I love networking. I always have in business development. And before I worked at Wellington Florist, I was running my own virtual assistant business. And I had clients all over the world where I would be their administrative assistant, just globally. I worked for some really powerful, strong, empathetic women. And what I learned from them is the importance of connection and follow through. So
I need to be better about that.
Perfect quality for a wedding coordinator, I'd say.
Yeah. And it's something I take very seriously. So anytime I go to a networking event, the follow-up immediately. I mean, there's that rule in business. It's like it takes 7 points of contact before someone actually makes a sale. There's easy ways to shrink that down if you create a human connection with someone.
Yeah. And we live in such a virtual world that it's like when someone actually makes an effort to make a human connection, it's kind of like, oh, that's different.
It's refreshing.
It is refreshing.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, when we were talking before the podcast started, we were talking about networking, and people tend to lose focus and not see the forest through the trees and think about all these creative ways to market. But I mean, get out there and shake hands and kiss babies and meet your customers. There's really no replacement for that. It's still the word of mouth is still the number one way, unless you're a national e-commerce brand, selling like widgets from China.
Well, what's crazy is that, I mean, business-wise, with social media and whatnot, we have the tools to make our business known nationally, globally.
Sure.
But on the flip side, that also means our brides are being hit by so many more companies and so much more that when you do make that human connection, it actually makes you stand out more, because I see wedding planners and stuff on social media all day long, all over the country. Like, I know about so many people, and I could feel for brides that are like, okay, well, I need vendors. Like, where do I start? And there's just it's not like you I don't know, go to a magazine or go to your little local expo and that's your only options. I feel like it used to be, like, the options are endless now. Yeah. So it's like, how do you differentiate a local connection, like a human connection actually makes you stand out even more.
Especially on a day that is so important for the rest of their life.
Mm-hmm.
I think especially as a wedding planner and as a florist, we are creating those memories.
Mm-hmm.
And it is something that JP, I know, takes very seriously.
Oh, yeah.
It's everything.
Well, something I've said from the beginning of my career, I don't sell flowers. We sell sentiment.
Mm-hmm.
We sell feelings and sentiment. And that's why the stakes are so high. On top of our wedding side of our business, we have an everyday retail business.
Right.
And, let's say someone, no matter how serious the situation is, it's important to the client that we portray their feelings of, we're in a gifting business.
Mm-hmm.
You send flowers to somebody that, lost their pet.
Mm-hmm.
Or if God forbid a family member or something like that, the flowers have to be right. They have to
mm-hmm.
be perfect. They have to, the stakes are always high. And then on the off occasion, we get a complaint about one every 400 bouquets we do. The people can be really upset, and that we didn't get the right color yellow or something like that
mm-hmm.
in the bouquet they wanted. But I take that as an opportunity to train my staff. I'm like, look, this was important to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they're being nitpicky. We're representing them
mm-hmm.
to the recipient. So try to put yourself in their shoes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I never laugh off a customer that's unhappy. I'll try to learn a lesson from every interaction, no matter how trivial it may seem.
Yeah. No, and it is I ordered flowers for my mom once and it wasn't a big deal, but when she sent me a picture of thanks, I was like, that is so not what not even close, which,
right.
I let it go. I don't even think I contacted the company, but I was I spent an hour like doom scrolling online of like this bouquet or that bouquet or this, and I'm calling, I think it was my mom's birthday or something where like it was joint with my sister. I'm like, do you want the pink ones or the purple ones or the this or that? And then like blue showed up and we're like, okay.
And that's a big,
it wasn't through you guys.
it's a big deal. Also I'll mention I'm the vice president of the Florida State Florist Association.
Okay.
And my role there is not a paid position. It's a lot of work, and it's my role there is to promote good floristry. Because I feel like bad floristry is bad for everybody. Because Sydney, if you get burned like that a couple times, you're not going to send flowers anymore.
Yeah,
you're going to send a bundt cake or a candle or a singing telegram, something. You're not going to keep spending $100, $200 on flowers and keep getting a picture you didn't like.
Yeah,
you're just going to choose it. There's plenty of options for gifting now. So, you could be very myopic and think about how great you are and how all your competition's terrible. But I don't want my neighbors to be bad. I want them to have good product.
It affects the whole industry. It's
does.
like, I don't want all the other wedding planners to be bad because it puts a bad rap on planners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then they're just going to say, screw it. I'm not going to do a wedding planner. I'm just going to hire my cousin that, right. and they don't see the value in it. They're not going to see the value in it, which is obviously very valuable.
So speaking of going and hiring your cousin and not seeing value. I wanted to ask you, why should couples hire a professional I know my answer, but I want to hear your answer. Why should couples hire a professional florist versus DIY? We all hear DIY. Well,
I think people don't realize how important flowers are for your wedding. I think that first of all, that right there. I mean, first and foremost, I don't think people feel the gravitas of what a transformed room looks like. And it's not just how it looks with your eyes visually, how it makes you feel. Again, flowers are a way, I just talked about it. Flowers are a way we communicate sentiment. Like people walk in the room on a first look and start crying. I
did at my reveal. Like when I worked so hard for a year putting everything together, and then you walk in and you see it, and it's just, I got teary-eyed. I was like, oh my gosh, it just looks, it's so pretty, and everything comes together. It
hopefully exceeds your expectation.
Yeah.
Yes.
And all the time, I'm always battling this perception that flowers die. Flowers die. Well, that expensive bottle of wine also, gets drank, and the expensive steak gets eaten, and everything's fleeting, and it's the memories.
Your steak died.
It's the yes. It's the memories. Yes, that's true. It's the memories that are. You're always going to remember the flowers at your wedding, and they're going to be in your pictures. But
it's true. I mean, the linens that you're paying for, you're not taking them home. Yeah. Like they're going back to the rental. The chairs are going back. So no, you can't keep your flowers forever. But if they're beautiful and they're in the photos, you can keep that forever.
Right. You can preserve flowers now, which is such a great option.
Yeah, so, I have my bouquet flower preserved.
Yes, so there are ways to keep them, and also it's a great way to give to your guests as a nice thank you. I know there's some wedding planners that'll encourage, centerpieces. They'll play fun games where they'll have stickers underneath the chairs at the reception. Oh, so that's cute. That's the winner of the centerpiece. People love to go home with free flowers.
I always have a grandma asking me, can I take? Which arrangement can I take?
I'd love for grandma to take the arrangement home. Grandma deserves the arrangement.
Yes, for sure. Grandma deserves the arrangement. I want to talk about the behind the scenes of how much actually goes into a florist, which I, as a planner knew this, but a few weeks ago you had a networking event at your shop, which was so fun. Thank you so much for having us. And I've kept in touch with a few people that I saw there, so it's been good. I just had lunch with someone yesterday.
Really?
Because of that event.
Honestly, that warms my heart. That was one of the main reasons I did it. One, obviously to get the name of Wellington Florist out, but I love creating connections. So the fact that people are doing what I do when I go to events, that makes me really happy.
For sure. And then I'm in the process, someone at that event asked me to be on the podcast. So I'm in the process of scheduling that too.
Amazing.
So thank you for having us. But at that event, you took us on a tour through your coolers. And even as a planner who sees the behind the scenes, and I've done, very minimal, but DIY, I've bought wholesale and done it myself just for my own little branding pictures. And It's so much work. It is so much work.
Right.
But so even as someone who knows this, like when you took us through and you were explaining the process and how you order them and just how much cooler space you need and all of this, I was like, this is why people try to do DIY and then they fail and it's a mess and it's a headache and then someone's crying on the wedding day because it's not just as easy. I mean, if you're doing one little arrangement, sure, go to the store and buy a dozen roses and call it a day. But for a wedding, for centerpieces, for your bouquet, like it's just not that easy at all. So tell me a bit about like how far in advance do you have to order the flowers? Where do you order the flowers from? How long do you keep them cool? When do you start arranging them?
That answer is very complicated. Every flower has its own care and need. Mm-hmm. I've heard so many horror stories about DIY flowers. You're making your poor mother-in-law, work until midnight or 1 o'clock the night before the wedding. Mm-hmm. Transporting everything is a bear. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a beast. We just purchased a 6-figure truck to transport the flowers to the, we have elaborate ways we secure the flowers so your hard work doesn't get damaged on the way. I have $10,000 worth of carts on wheels that we wheel stuff around. You need a team of people to install things. But to answer your question, I get the flowers in actually anywhere from 7 to 10 days before, depending on the flower. But let's just say a week or a little more before. People might not know this, but flowers are the prettiest right before they die. Mm-hmm. The flower, starts in a tight bud stage, and when you cut the stem and put it in water, it starts to drink the water, and it sucks up the water through the stem, and it releases the moisture through the petals, and the petals get bigger and start to open and get puffy. We monitor that entire process with thousands of stems of flowers for a wedding, and as they're at the right stage, we'll pull them out of the sea of arrangements, sea of flowers sitting out, and we'll put them in the cooler so that they'll hold at that stage. So we're like hand picking flowers out of your bunch to grab the nicest ones to put in the cooler. And that takes days and days and days, for those flowers to sit there and develop. And then boom, they can die. Like the day after your wedding, they're all wilted. Mm-hmm. Because, they are not old, but they're in their prime condition, which is right before they die. Mm-hmm. So there's that. Then there's making sure that those flowers in that delicate stage have to get transported in 90-degree weather to the venue. They get jostled around. They don't like being beat up. Mm-hmm. You need to be able to fix things. There's always a little bit of damage. Mm-hmm. When you, in the delivery process, we always have to swap out a few things. We have extra stuff for that. We have to decide which order to make things in. Because it all has to get done, of course. So we gotta decide. Okay, so do we want to make this one last minute? Like your flowers to wear, your corsages, your boutonnieres, those aren't in water. They're not like in any kind of foam or water. So those need to be made kind of last minute.
Last minute, yeah. Which is hard. A lot of people. I feel like I'm the only planner that isn't in love with a first look, which goes against what a lot of people.
I don't really like a first look either.
I'm not like super against it, but I'm a little bit traditional on that side of I just like that moment. But also, they do it because they want to enjoy cocktail hour. But what happens is that then so much has to happen before, and your hair and makeup has to be done at 11 a.m. Your photographer has to be there at 11, and we're doing all of this stuff so early in the day. And the one thing that made me think of this is that I notice the bouquets and the corsages, sometimes by the time we get to ceremony, I'm like, they're looking rough, but they've been out of water the ceremony's at 4, they've been out of water for 5 hours at that point. And they've been bumped and this and that, and the bouquets are being held, thrown on the table, this, that. And I'm like, and then someone will be like, well, this boutonniere doesn't look good. I'm like, well, it has been out of water for 5 hours.
That being said, too, your flowers should not look rough after 5 hours. Your florist should select blooms that will hold up. Mm-hmm. That's not really acceptable to me as a florist.
Yeah, okay.
So, your bouquet should not be rotting after 5 hours. Of course, there's always that possibility of physical damage. Mm-hmm. Of the groom wearing his boutonniere and hugging all the people
bumped.
And smashing it.
Yeah.
Sure, there's something like that. If you're getting a delicate flowers, a lot of times you're doing a whole wedding, I'll throw in an extra boutonniere.
Oh, okay.
I've often done that. If they want to pick something really delicate, like an anemone or something like that, I'll just include 2 just in case, for that exact reason. But yeah, no, a big part of your florist job is to make sure that they're selecting blooms that aren't going to wilt or last.
That fast.
And yeah, there's 100 different varieties of white roses out there. There's 10, 20, 30 farms that grow hydrangea. Processing the hydrangea, we use a 3-step chemical process to process our hydrangea. It's been studied to death for making them not wilt. Everyone bemoans hydrangeas, like they always die, they always wilt. Well, we really don't have problems. I have hydrangeas lasting 2 weeks.
Really?
And you're on your living room table.
I always thought that. Before I worked at Wellington Florist, I was like, oh, hydrangeas die so quickly. I've had hydrangeas literally come home and have sat on my island in the kitchen for 10 days and be perfect.
And they're old to begin with when you brought them home because they were like an arrangement that we didn't sell or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Side note, a few weeks ago I had some hydrangeas and I did an expo and they let the brides in early. So like I was cutting them and whatever, just a little arrangement to have on my table. And like last step, I was like, oh, I got to go get water for that. And then a bunch of brides came. Long story short, I never put water in this poor vase for these poor hydrangeas and stuff. And so by the end of this expo, they were looking sad.
Yeah.
And I took them home and put them in water and like a little popped up and I was talking to my friend and I was like, I think I just got to throw them away. And she was like, no, like there's methods. And I revived them.
Yeah.
I was so, because I was like, there's no reviving. And not for 10 more days, but I probably like 4 more days. Like they really came back to life and I was so excited. So I was like, there is one.
Yeah. When you see a wilted hydrangea, it's not old. It didn't drink. The stems got clogged. Picture a straw. Picture you're trying to drink a Slurpee and not a Slurpee, like milkshake, and you just can't, they're not good drinkers, so you need to give it a fresh cut, put it in fresh water. It'll kind of clear up that clogged end. There's like the end of the stem gets clogged and it can't uptake the water to the bloom and the bloom starts to collapse. So usually it'll come back. If you catch it quick enough, it comes back quickly. Yeah. But there's ways to, when we make the bridal bouquet, that when we're using hydrangeas in a bouquet or something like that, there's ways that you can, it's hard to say, there's ways you can gather the flowers in the right way where they're kind of, I don't know, they're kind of closely gathered to where the petals aren't releasing as much moisture into the air, let's say.
Okay.
And they'll hold on to that moisture a little longer. We also use a product called Crown and Glory, which is it's almost like a coating that goes over the flower and stops them from releasing that moisture through the petals. It stunts that process, so it really helps.
I noticed this a few weeks ago when I toured your shop, and now of just the way that you speak shows how educated you are on this and how much there is to it, more than just like, I'm gonna go buy a dozen roses and call it a day. Like how much goes into it. And it just really shows, like, for any brides listening, of why you want not just someone brand new who's, I'm going to go buy some flowers and call myself a florist. Like, that there's really so much to it. And just the way you speak, you can tell that it rolls off your tongue so easily. I'm like, wow, he's really educated on this.
I'm going to say that confidence didn't come until about 10 years. 10 years of and not just occasional weddings either, 10 years of like being a very busy florist. 10 years of being a very busy florist with constant weddings, events, and daily orders. After about 10 years, nothing phases me anymore. I have complete confidence doing anything. I will tell you one advantage of, my shop in particular. We have a busy, thriving retail store. We sell, 100 bouquets a day. Anyway, so if I'm nervous about, like, you want this particular peony, or peonies aren't great right now, and I'll order, like, and I need, let's say I need 60 peonies for your wedding. I'll order 200 peonies from 3 different farms. And because I can sell the rest in my retail store.
Right.
It's a huge advantage.
So you can
a huge advantage. I never lose sleep. Like if I'm
nice.
Yeah, And
at least over peonies.
At least over peonies.
Well, and I don't want to disparage, new florists or people trying to do.
No, you have to start somewhere.
Everyone deserves their shot. I'm the vice president of Florist State Florist Association. I respect those florists. I respect all florists. But there's a lot more risk, for them. I'm losing sleep if I'm ordering and getting FedExed a box of peonies and they arrive dead 2 days before the wedding, and you just can't recover. It's hard to recover from some kind of emergency like that. You don't have proper refrigeration in your house. Like, we have 35 employees at Wellington Florist. I have 10 designers. We have 3 coolers full of flowers. You saw, if your whole wedding got frozen in my cooler because of some kind of wild electrical issue or something like that, we could all come together and
that's
knock
a question
it out.
brides ask a lot. They ask me, and then on our calls with all the other vendors, they're like, what happens if you can't show up? And that's really great for you guys, is chances are all 35 of you aren't going to have a flat tire on the same day. Let's knock on some wood. But you have backup. You have a team. So if something happened to the two of you, you're the front-facing people, you at least have a trusted team that is going to get that wedding done.
Yeah. I mean, I can't remember the last time I've had a bride that was unhappy with anything, but I think this had to be 4 or 5 years ago. I can't even remember. It's a long time ago. We dropped off a wedding bouquet and, she didn't love it. The planner came out and told me, can you go talk to the bride? This isn't what she was expecting. I was able to have 2 other options delivered to the venue, for her to pick from. It was no big deal. I didn't even flinch. It was fine. I can, whatever you're doing, we can. First of all, I'm very sorry. Please don't panic.
Yeah.
I have hundreds of other stems. I can make something else. So there's not there's no options.
Yeah.
There's very little we can't recover from if there are issues, and there are issues. Things happen, and
of course it's life,
and it's almost actually fun. Not for the bride doesn't even know about it. There's sometimes I'm setting something up and this particular flower kind of just croaked on the way there, and I have the extras with me. We fix it. I don't even think about it. It's just part of the job.
Yeah.
It's just part of the job.
Well, that's amazing that you guys are,
It's really cool to be able to pull things off.
Yeah, it is fun. It's the challenge.
Yeah. You probably feel really good too, putting all the pieces of all the vendors together too.
It is always when I send the bride down the aisle, I always have this okay, it's coming together. It all happened.
Yeah.
And even, for me, on my own wedding day, seeing the whole room, I was super excited and emotional, but I get that feeling again and again at every wedding, because it's to see, it's a lot of work. And as the planner, I feel it's sometimes I love all my brides, but sometimes it's even more work than because I'm dealing with, okay, it's not what I want, it's what they want. So I'm trying to make their vision come to life. And sometimes they don't know what their vision is. And actually, I want to talk to you about that, because you probably deal with that too, of brides don't know what they want. It's I want something beautiful, but I don't know what I want. And here's what I saw on Pinterest, but they show you 5 different Pinterest boards that have nothing to do with each other. So do you want to talk about that a little bit, about, pulling the design together and working with brides?
Yeah.
Or color palettes and all of that?
Yeah. Should I start with maybe the process of work from the beginning, working
Sure.
with Wellington Florist?
Sure.
So when a wedding planner or a couple decides that they want to inquire working with Wellington Florist, they can either call the shop and set up a consultation with me. We also have a wedding intake form online, and it just asks those questions. What do they envision? What we think are simple questions, as far as how many tables are you going to have? What's your venue? Any color palette. And then from there, we do an in-depth consultation. I like to meet the couples or the wedding planner as much as possible in-house in one of our 2 locations, because then they get to see all our flowers in their shop, and that's impressive.
It is.
And then from there, I create a really visual proposal, and I listen to the couples. And I like to ask the couples, how do they want to feel when they walk into their reception or their ceremony. And I use those keywords that they say, if they say like romantic, or I want it to feel whimsical or bohemian, and those keywords. And then I deep dive into Pinterest using their color palette and try to find a couple options. I want them to see a different, maybe show them some different options that they wouldn't expect they like. And then from there, we have an open conversation. And I always say, like, the proposal is just the starting point. From there, I mean, our designers are extremely talented. I sometimes say the best option for them is to tell me what colors they want and let the designers do the rest. Use seasonal flowers and let the designers like work their magic.
Because sometimes like if you box them in, it's like what they would just come up with on their own is better than you could have imagined.
Because they're the real artists,
Well, and something I do too is, when they leave me a little freedom to do a little bit of what I want, I can actually shop deals. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean flowers are bad, but this farm might have a large stock of these really beautiful garden roses. And even though I didn't quote you for garden roses, I can pick them up at a regular rose price and add them into your recipes and stuff like that. And so I do that for every wedding, every event, not just weddings, but like, we have a lot of buying power at our shop. We have a lot of relationships directly with the farms. We had really good weather this month, so this particular variety, grew twice the yield as it usually does. So it bottoms out the price on this. We need to get rid of it. They only last so long. The farms need to sell them. Yeah. So we can sometimes, there's always something on the market that I can scoop up. You know what I mean? But if you tell me you want this particular variety and that's all you want, then you got to buy that particular variety, no matter what the price is. We're gonna give you that set price, when we do the proposal. Another thing about Wellington Florist too is we're not afraid to make you a sample. A lot of the smaller shops, again, not disparaging any smaller shops, but it's not economical for them to bring in, the 9 to 15 different elements in your centerpiece. When they only, you got to buy a minimum of 10. You're paying out the nose for one bunch of 10 from the local wholesaler or whatever. They use 3 in a centerpiece. I have it in stock. Like it's no big deal for me to just make the sample. You come in, you see it. You want me to change something, I change it on the spot. We decide on something, you know what you're getting. You know what I mean? You're not showing up and being like, I hate this centerpiece. You saw the centerpiece.
Yeah, right. We tried to start incorporating that. We have a final consult. So the couple decides to work with us. We book them. And then usually like a month to 2 months out, we schedule a final consultation. We can work with the wedding planners, and a lot of people like to do it at their final tasting. And we'll drop off our mock centerpiece at the tasting.
Yeah, and that
sets the table up.
It's so nice to see it in person, and a lot of times I'm there with brides, like when we do a floral sample, and one, it gets them really excited because they're like, oh, like it's pretty. Because sometimes I feel like they can't envision it from the start. And so when it's like, here it is in person, I mean, they get really excited. And then if there are any tweaks, it's like, oh, I like that, I don't like that. Or like, it's just so much easier than imagining it in your head or looking at Pinterest. It's because Pinterest is not always reality. Like, it doesn't always translate. So I love that you guys do floral samples because it does make a big difference.
Yeah, it sets us apart. We can provide that level of service. Because we have that retail side.
And it's hard because like as an entrepreneur who, started from scratch, like I want to give everyone a shot, and everyone does deserve their shot. But on the flip side of, over my years of being a wedding planner and working with a bunch of different vendors, some newbies are great, some newbies are not. And it's kind of hard. And as a bride, as a kind-hearted like business person, I'm like, yes, like everyone, like shoot your shot. Everyone deserves your shot, But as a planner advising brides, I do advise them to lean on more, experienced vendors because it's your one day. It's a big day. Sometimes sometimes you find someone new and they're less expensive and you get really lucky. Sometimes you get what you pay for. And I recently had someone who was like, I don't want to pay a lot for a photographer. I want the cheapest, whatever. That's what we did. Guess who wasn't happy when their photos came back? So it's like, so anyway, I just wanted to touch on that because I do want everyone to have their shot, and I do want to make space for everybody.
I think the main thing is that, if you're a new florist, we were all new florists at some point.
Yeah.
You should really just communicate that to the bride. Like, you're my second wedding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like be
clear
fair.
Expectations.
I think that's fair. And then once you say that, once you disclose that, it's, the bride knows that there's, you might be saving a little money, but there's going to be a little risk there. They might not have had anything that can go wrong will, and there's nothing that's gone wrong that I haven't experienced and recovered from.
And that's how you learn.
That 100%. And
you don't learn by everything being easy.
They need to learn. And so some of the I have advised new florists, like, you probably shouldn't, start off doing weddings, try to do simpler corporate events or something like that where the stakes aren't quite as high.
Yeah.
Or at least be transparent, disclose it. But
the stakes on wedding day are very high.
Right.
Weddings are expensive, and a big part of that are florals.
Sure.
Do you guys want to touch on budgeting for florals and how to maximize your budget? What's kind of realistic these days?
I'm fine to say that our average wedding is between $5,000 and $15,000 at Wellington Florist. Not that, but that being said, you can come to us for one bridal bouquet. Mm-hmm. We don't have a minimum order.
That is helpful.
Yeah,
that is nice.
We have the retail store, so we don't mind, buying. We don't mind, making one arrangement for you. We don't have to. We don't have a lot of waste because you have to buy minimums of flowers. So we can use those in our retail store. So you could buy one bridal bouquet. There's definitely ways to save money. You don't need all of your centerpieces to be elevated centerpieces. Mm-hmm. You can do half low, half tall. For your ceremony, you can do every other pew for chair treatments. Mm-hmm.
Repurposing is huge to save money. So if you have podium pieces during your ceremony or aisle pieces during your ceremony, repurposing as much as possible during your reception to decorate your sweetheart table or the dance floor, the DJ stand, the band.
Yep. We offer that service too. Actually, almost most of our weddings, especially in the 10,000 and up wedding, that usually typically has a florist on site to repurpose everything. Yeah. That's kind of included. We'll include that in the package we'll bring the whole arch inside, put it behind your sweetheart table.
Yeah.
And then it's not the wedding planner's responsibility.
Yeah, I don't like touching arrangements.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll have one or two staff members and designers stay on site for the duration of the wedding.
If it's something small, I don't mind, but
I just want to say I respect budgets.
Yeah.
I really do. I respect budgets. I get that weddings are expensive, and no matter what your budget is, I'll try to figure out a way to meet it to where we can give you. There's very, very seldom is there someone that has such an unreasonable budget. It happens, but it's not like every day. Usually I can figure out a formula or a recipe or a mix that makes them happy, and also I can make a little money too. I think there's definitely a way to do it. Like I said, I mentioned before, giving me a little freedom to shop deals, find some real premium blooms that might be on sale to add in, not necessarily as maybe your focal or your main flower to be a complete surprise. But we can add in, we can bulk up your arrangements with something. And just because something's cheaper too doesn't mean it's going to be done right. I was showing Heather a picture the other day of an elevated centerpiece, right? Mm-hmm. And picture an arrangement on the table, in the middle of your table, like something where it's flat, where you don't see a container, it's just flat to the table. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of florists that will pick up that arrangement and put it up on some kind of riser and call it an elevated centerpiece. It's not. An elevated centerpiece has 40% more flowers than a centerpiece on the table, because you have to do the bottom. Mm-hmm. All that whole picture of basketball cut in half that's on your table. Well, an elevated centerpiece is pretty much the whole basketball.
Yeah.
You have that whole bottom of the circle.
Right, as your guests are sitting, they're looking up at it, they see the bottom.
So if you're looking
they don't want to see a tray.
If you're looking at inspo pictures or a florist catalog and the arrangement on the riser looks like a gumdrop, like a half a circle. Mm-hmm. You're not getting a full arrangement. Yeah, and those are more difficult to transport and more difficult to set up. So there's like a whole thing to do proper, and there is a difference. Like even laymen can see the difference in these centerpieces. Like they're more substantial.
No, that makes sense. Do you have any tips for couples who are like getting overwhelmed by Pinterest, which I feel like it kind of ties into like let you play, like come talk to you guys. But what would you say if brides were like looking at Pinterest? There's a million things.
Well, I mean, I love Pinterest.
Yeah,
I really
do
too. A lot of florists bemoan Pinterest because it creates unreasonable expectations, I think, a lot of times. Because a lot of things you're going to see on Pinterest and Instagram are these big luxury events.
Just wish it had like a price tag next to it. Like, it's great for ideas, but like, side note, this is $20,000.
Yeah.
And 20,000, it could be way under what you see on Pinterest. I mean, like brides bring me all the time like a $100,000 ceremony, and that's just florals. We don't even do $100,000 weddings. If you came to us for that, there's other florists that are better outfitted for that. Heather's going to yell at me. She wants to.
You can do.
She wants
everything.
to be the dog that catches.
We're not there yet. Yeah.
No, we have our niche, and but florists, florists definitely bemoan Instagram because they're these big magical weddings done by these celebrity florists. Karen Tran and what's the guy that does the gobs of flowers? I'll forget his name in a second. There's a lot of big luxury flowers. There's luxury florists. There's people in West Palm Beach here that are $60,000 minimums.
Yeah.
And that's their minimum. That's like they don't want to.
And like for someone listening, we're talking about the floral budget specifically.
Yeah.
Like
60,000 minimum.
Yeah. We're not talking. That doesn't include anything other than the florals.
And then let me just be clear that that's the minimum. So like they're not even excited about doing that. They want to do 120 or 220. You know what I mean? So it's very common. It's a whole industry. It's kind of a different business than what we have. Not that we can't do it. I've done a $100,000 wedding.
Yeah.
I've done it. I've done it myself. It was an off season. It was an existing client. We made it happen, and it was amazing. It's kind of my magnum opus. It was pretty awesome. I pulled it off, so I can do it. It's just that sometimes you need trusses and scissor lifts and bucket trucks and scaffolding. You need to cover the floor and plywood. And
there's a way.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into that type of business. So that being said, when you come to me with a $100,000 wedding arch, or a tunnel of flowers you walk through, or a ceiling installation, or something like that, I'm good at setting expectations, and that's really my job. Yeah, my job is to set your expectations, to deliver on those expectations. And I have no problem showing you what you're going to get, what you could expect to spend to get what you're going to get. And I think for our higher end stuff, our prices are very reasonable. I really do. We really give a lot for a $10,000 flower spend. Yeah, we give a lot. I mean, like our customers are gushing. Like we commonly hear it's better than they expected. We give a lot of flowers. There's ways to do a wedding arch where like you can just do the front. Yeah. Like they set up the arch. Everything's very 1D. Like the flowers are just on the front. You know what I mean? And like really, you got to wrap it at least 75%. Otherwise, it looks incomplete to me. Like and that's a very amateur-y kind of way that some florists do it.
I know. I've had before where I walk into weddings and I know the price that the bride paid, and I'm like, like this is what we got for $10,000. Like, okay.
So if you're comparing quotes, and you should get quotes, and you see that one florist charged you $750 for an arch and mine was $7,500. Trust me, they're not the same arch. Yeah. Trust me, they're not the same arch. They're going to be vastly different looking. We're not just walking away with thousands of dollars of your money.
No, for sure.
We're going to give you a big substantial arch.
Yeah. No, it does make a difference. Yeah. Is there anything for 2025 and 2026, like trends that you're really seeing that brides are asking for?
I'll let Heather answer that.
Any like color palettes or?
I mean, the classics will always stay in, right? So the classic white and green, blue and white, pink and white, all white. Yeah. I think people are leaning a little more into color. Yeah. Which I love. Mm-hmm. Our designers love it too.
Yeah, they get to play.
Yes. And I think that's where Pinterest and Instagram have helped the industry because they're seeing that saturation of color on their feeds.
Yeah. And like how they can use color and it still look classy and elegant and
I love a bride that's not afraid to to have a bold color. And let me just say something to all the brides that may be listening. Go monochromatic. Monochromatic always wins. It's like always like stunning and wildly impactful and aesthetically amazing. You know, just huge gobs of all hot pink or all blue or, you know what I mean? Like it's really kind of my favorite way to do it. Definitely don't mix more than 3 colors. You know what I mean? Stop, you know, try not to be super busy.
Yeah.
But you can never go wrong with monochromatic. It'll always have like a maximum impact.
Okay.
So it always really magnifies the look. Yeah.
Garden. I'm seeing a lot of garden. And like floral meadows.
Have
been really big for 2025, 2026.
I mean, look at Taylor Swift.
I mean, thanks.
Yeah, the Taylor Swift little fairy, the fairy, which I love. I love gardening.
Thanks to Travis.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's be for real. Thanks to that florist. Travis probably was like, make it look nice.
Yeah, and they probably paid, you know, $50,000 to $100,000 for that photo shoot for the flowers. I mean, you know, just I would do it for much less, but I know who did that. I know who did those flowers, and that's where that florist is gonna be out of LA for sure.
Yeah, that's a lot of money for an engagement photo, but it's Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, so
it's
of course.
Relative.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to think what other big topics I wanted to hit. Is there anything that you feel like we missed that you wanted to speak on?
Is there anything that you like that your clients are asking for in regards to flowers, or anything that you would want to see from us?
I think budget is always such a big thing. Yeah. And I love Pinterest for ideas, but people don't have realistic budgets, and then they see things and they're like, I want this. And I'm like, that's not going to happen. So that's a big thing that I try to educate my clients. And I've even started like in my initial consultations with them being like, hey, what's your budget? Like, let's have a realistic talk. And I tried to really be like, if, you know, I can make any budget work, and we can, but it's like, we can make any budget work, but you have to be willing to bend, you know, like you have to be willing to be flexible. So I feel like those conversations I'm having a lot. I don't know, kind of the same as you said. I feel like I see a lot of like the blue and white, and
I think we've done 5 blue and white weddings this year.
Yes. Yeah.
Which I love. They're great.
Yeah, they're pretty. I mean, I did all white for my wedding. That was
beautiful.
Like one thing my husband, like,
monochromatic.
He didn't care. He was just like, white flowers. I'm like,
great.
That's it. He's like, white flowers. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, it's the only thing you care.
I love when the fiancés have an input. I really do.
Yeah. It was like one of the only things he cared about. And I didn't have a strong like vision at the time. So I was like, okay, at least I don't think I'll regret it, which I don't. It's pretty. I mean, sometimes I'm like, oh, it could have been more fun. But one day when I have a baby shower,
that's what I was going to say.
Go crazy.
One thing I will say is, you know, to you know, plug you a little bit, Sydney, is that I really appreciate a good planner when I work with one. I really do, as a florist. I mean, I love when you tell me what timeline you want. I'm happy to accommodate what you want. And like, it makes my life actually easier.
You know what I want?
We're setting expectations. And
is if I say that the first look is at 12, don't show up to the wedding at 12 with bouquets and boutonnieres not made yet.
Oh,
that's what I want.
Never.
So like the timeline said 12. It was like 11:58. And I was like, do you have the boutonniere? Like, we're about to do the first look. And they're like, well, the timeline said 12. And I was like, okay, sure. You can have 2 more minutes. Like, and they're like, well, we have to make it. And I was like,
oh,
no,
we're not showing up and making boutonnieres on site.
We're going to be respectful of time.
That's what I'm looking for.
Respectful of time. And also like going back to how your couples are, if they are budget conscious, we are very price transparent. Mm-hmm. We have a wedding guide of our 2025, 2026 price guide of our starting point. Happy to share it with anyone.
Yeah, we'll give you prices over the phone.
Yeah.
We're not like come in and have a consultation and fill out all this stuff. We do have the form to fill out, but like if you call me and say how much is an arch, like we're going to tell you.
You're not
there's
hiding
no point.
stuff.
Yeah, we're not obfuscating anything. It is what it is. And we understand there's lots of options out there. You should shop around. Mm-hmm. We're busy. We're booked, so it's, we're lucky to be that way, and not saying we don't care, but like if we're not a good fit for a bride,
it has to be a good fit. It has to match. I think that those are the big things that as a planner I look for. One, I just want to work with genuine good people, because on wedding day I view all of us as one big team.
Yeah.
So if something goes sideways, I want just good human connection, like we were talking about earlier, of, even if it's something to do with the photographer or this or that, like to know that you're good people, you're good human. And if I'm like, hey, can you help me with this or that? Like, not to cross lines, but that's like a big thing. It's like, I just want good people to work with. But I love the fact that you guys have like your shop, and that you'll do a whole design like process with the brides and bring them into your shop, that you're upfront with prices. And I love that you guys have a full team. So, as a wedding planner, I'm looking for companies who are, legit companies who know what they're doing, are going to show up on time. People, I can tell you when I've done weddings and, like I said, like the florists are showing up late, things are a mess, or like they have bad attitudes. I'm like, I don't want to work with you again, and not in a mean way, but it's just like, I don't feel comfortable recommending you. One other thing that I've had, some florists do that has made me, not the happiest, is they'll tell the couples like, oh yeah, you can repurpose and you can take things home at the end of the night and all this stuff, and fail to mention like who's going to repurpose and who's going to clean up. And then they're like, your planner can do all of that. And I learned the hard way early on that I need to ask these questions and whatnot. Yeah. But I've had one florist like fight me on it, being like, no, it's your job to clean everything up. And I was like, there was a staircase arrangement, like going down the whole railing there. All this stuff. And I'm like, I'm not, what do you want me to do with all this stuff? Like the planner cannot be responsible for cleaning all of that up. So
strike is a big it's a big deal. Like we do charge for strike. You're going to see a line item on your proposal.
You charge for strike because it's a lot of work, which is why I don't want to do it for free.
No, well, let me tell you, like, our again, price transparency, we're about 20% of your spend is on delivery and strike. That's not a profit margin for us. Like it's not a revenue center. The people,
you have a team you have to pay.
The people working
and
on your
trucks.
They're people on your wedding day, the ones that are repurposed, they're coming in early. We're loading the trucks. We're going to your wedding. We're setting up. We're working really hard. There is some downtime, yes, while you're getting married and having your reception, but they're pretty much hanging out close by. And when the wedding's over, they're coming back. They don't get back until 1:30 in the morning. Yeah. 1:30 last weekend?
Yeah, 1:30 last weekend.
That downtime is when, like, your vendors are, like, running to the bathroom, finally getting a drink of water, finally going pee, finally eating a snack, and then, like, we're back to it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, my employees don't care that they sat there for 2 hours while the reception was going on. It's like they still need to they say, well, I'm still here. I need to get paid,
Yeah.
And
they could be out on a boat with their family or something.
So 12 hours, $25 an hour, right? That's $300 a person. You have 3 people. It adds up.
It does add up.
Yeah. Maybe a tiny bit extra on top of that for gas for the truck and little overhead insurance and stuff like that. But really, I'm not putting that money in my pocket. It's going towards making sure that, your venue is where we're following the contract of the venue that you agreed to as the bride, to have everything out of there. Pretty sure the bride probably signs the contract, right? Saying it's going to, you can't just book the Pelican Club and leave everything there. They're going to.
Heck no, you can't leave everything there.
Right.
Oh, that's another thing. I've had for the strike, let's say wedding ended at 10. I had a florist not arrive for strike until like 10:30. And, they need to like clear the linens and move the tables, and they clear the room and sweep the floors and all of that. Not just Pelican Club, like all the venues. And their staff isn't allowed to leave that night until the room is cleared. They don't leave it a mess and then come do it the next day. So that also was something I was like, how rude. Like there's so many people waiting on you. I don't leave until the room is cleared because, again, I feel like that's part of my job is I'm telling the bride, hey, you go have fun. I'll stay back and make sure it's all cleared up for you because you did sign a contract that says if you leave it a mess, you're being held. So I'll be that person that me or my team, like that we make sure it's all done. So just back to like timing and just being a team player.
And the same thing on our end. That's why we appreciate a good planner. A good planner that's clear and transparent says, I need you here at 10 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Because they're the ones really in control of the timeline. Yeah, sure. We have our own timeline. We have our own internal timeline, but we might have 10:30 on that timeline. So it's great when the planner comes in and says, no, 10. Okay, great. We're doing 10. We're going to be there, So it's good to have that level of scrutiny on top of what we assume, or, we might not get our timeline completely right. So we appreciate a good planner or a planner at all, that someone that just sets the expectations, and it's easier to just meet the expectations, to be honest with you, than to guess. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And the bride doesn't know.
No,
the bride doesn't know, and they don't want to be bothered with that. And I'm not going to want to call the bride over and over again to ask every little detail that we might think of.
Yeah. And I mean, no hate on the brides, but half the time it's like, what time is it ending? 10:30? Like, I don't know. What time do we say? Yeah. And like, I don't remember things off the top of my head either. Like that's why I have it all written down, but she should be in bride la
100%.
Land. Like it's her day. Like let us worry about that stuff.
Yes. Yeah, that's why they hired us.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Well, I ask everyone that's on the podcast, do you have any wedding day horror stories?
So I saw that in the pre-questionnaire.
If the answer is no, it's okay.
No. Like I said it took me about 10 years to get confident. Well, in that first 10 years, I can think of 2 weddings that we were late to. Yeah. We were much smaller, much less experienced. You're going back to the early 2000s. That can't happen anymore, by the way, because we're computerized and there's like several layers of redundancy to make sure that doesn't happen. Both times were a Friday wedding. Whereas like we just have it in our head that it's a Saturday, and everything was on paper. Everything's pad and paper. And, I got a call like at 3 or 4 o'clock saying, where are you? You said you'd be here at 3 o'clock. And I'm like, it's tomorrow. No, it's not. It's today. We made it happen. We wished it out.
You know what I discovered recently? Yeah. I'm very excited. My sister-in-law, shout out Kaylee, just told me this. So I knew that you can schedule emails to go out in advance, but you can schedule your text messages.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
I didn't know that. And so now, because wedding days it's late night. So if I don't have to be there till maybe, I usually get there maybe like 11 a.m. where like makeup artist is there at like 6 a.m. or maybe not 6, but 7 a.m. I try to let myself sleep in on wedding day a little bit because I'm going to be there till midnight, Yeah. Sleep until like 8 a.m. Like not all day. But I oftentimes would want to like wake up early and text, good morning, like it's wedding day, like which I text everyone usually like the day before, but I'd like to send those texts. But anyway, I now preset text messages because I noticed that on wedding day, vendors aren't at their desk. They're not reading their emails. Right. So text is, during the process, I usually email, but the wedding day, I like to have a cell phone number, that quick communication. Anyway, I am very excited because I can the day before, like.
You'll have to teach me how to do that. I don't know how to do
it. It's easy, but I like send all my text messages even to the bride because sometimes I would feel bad that it's like I didn't wake up till 8:30 or something, and I know she's been getting her makeup done or whatever since 7. So now I can do a little auto like, good morning, it's your wedding day. And but more importantly for logistics of like, I can blast all the vendors of like, hey, here's the address, here's parking info. Like, again, top of mind because it's probably buried in your email. But
that's great. That's another reason why I love a good planner. I really appreciate it.
Sorry, but I cut you off. So it was. You guys went the wrong day.
I can think of it happening twice. One, it was Farah. who's still an employee of mine and still a very beloved and trusted employee. And they're both the same result of the same thing. Friday weddings that we kind of pad and paper. They book them in advance, and neither one of them were huge weddings. They weren't like big weddings, and we made it happen.
I was going to ask, did you make it happen?
Yeah, absolutely. I've never not shown up for a wedding and not produced it. Yeah, we had all the flowers. We made it happen. We weren't as big as a flower shop back then, but it wasn't a big deal. We made it happen. But it still freaks me out. It's still something I think about to this day.
Yeah.
As far as I have a reoccurring nightmare of not.
I thought you don't lose sleep over it.
No, well, this is one.
He's sleeping. He's just having a nightmare.
No, this is one. And if it's not bridal related, it's Valentine's Day. We do about 20.
That's scarier than a wedding day.
If you're getting, that's one of our blackout dates for weddings. We won't book you on Valentine's Day. Mm-hmm. We have like I said, we have a robust retail business. We do about 20 times the volume. We do 1,000 deliveries that day.
I call it our Super Bowl.
It's our Super Bowl, yeah.
There's 2 Super Bowls in February.
I have a reoccurring nightmare where I walk in on the morning of the 14th and all the orders are done. We have 1,000 deliveries. The drivers are showing up. We walk in at 6 o'clock in the morning and open the coolers and everything's frozen. And that's
has this happened or this is just a nightmare?
No, it's never happened. It's like a nightmare. It's because I talked about being able to recover from something. That's something you can't recover from. That's something that I could never, you can't, that's a week worth of work in that cooler, that for that day. And there's nothing.
You just every February 13th got to sleep in that cooler.
Well, I actually have,
bring a little cot, stay in your cooler.
Well, we split up the things in the different coolers. So if it happens to one cooler, it can't happen to them all. And we do have, it's actually good you brought it up. I need to check on all these. We do have, I do have Wi-Fi thermostats that will alert me if there's anything funky going on. I don't run them all the time. I need to get them, I need to look into getting them back online. Yeah, for that reason. We have this new refrigerator truck now too, so that's going to be a new one. Cooler equipment's much more reliable than it used to be too.
Yeah.
It's much more reliable now than it used to be. It doesn't go down nearly as much as it used to. Back in the day, it was always freezing stuff and, frozen flowers are the worst. But other than that, I can't think of any major.
If they're frozen, when they thaw out, is it a no-go?
Oh yeah, if you've probably had frozen lettuce out of the back of your freezer, and it almost looks beautiful and crystalline while it's frozen, really pretty, and then the moment it gets to room temperature, it turns into a soggy mess. So actually, brides. Here's what happens more often actually than anything. Not my fault. Brides will say, I want to pick up a bridal bouquet for a courthouse wedding. I'm going to pick it up on whatever day. People don't always get married at a courthouse on a Saturday. In fact, they get married any day of the week. So I had a couple of years ago, actually one of our few, we have a 5.0 on Google reviews. I do have a low review. You can go read it. It's from a woman that picked up her bridal bouquet several days before the wedding. She didn't tell us, we didn't know, you know what I mean? On the day of the wedding, it didn't look good, and we're like, well, we would have advised you which day to pick it up. She even says right in the review, I picked it up 2 days before. Well, we didn't know that. Why did you pick it up 2 days before?
Why'd you pick it up 2 days before?
Right. And then drove somewhere far away with it, riding in the car. Flowers don't like riding in the car.
They're very temperamental.
Yeah. No, I've had people pick up their daughter's bouquet, their daughter's dance recital bouquet, the night before the recital and put it in their fridge and freeze it. And then the next day, they showed me a picture. It's clearly frozen. You could see it's so, it looks like it, they turned black, the flowers, and they look really just awful, mushy and black.
I didn't tell you to freeze it.
Well, people think put it in the fridge. And our flower coolers are actually a little warmer. They're lower airflow. Sometimes the airflow themselves, flower equipment in the cooler is specialized for flowers. It has.
It's not the same as just your kitchen fridge.
Right. It has much lower airflow, and that airflow, if it's too rough on the blooms themselves, can damage the blooms. Flowers don't like to move around. They don't like to get blown around.
Fridges.
No, it's true, and you can give it cold stress. Cold stress is worse than heat stress. It's worse. There's no recutting it and putting it back in, puffing it back up like we talked about the hydrangea. It's really, they're done. They're totally done. So we've had that every now and then. I can immediately tell from the picture, you froze it. We give them another one anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't even care if it's your fault. We have a 7-day guarantee, and it doesn't matter if it's, doesn't matter if it's their fault. They can freeze their flowers. We give them a new one. We don't want any sadness deriving from flowers. We just want that. We only want happiness deriving from flowers.
Which is like, that day you might be, like out a bouquet, but you have a happy customer. It builds your reputation, and in the end,
and
it's worth it.
It's a no-brainer.
My dad ran a business for like 30 years, and he was always like, find a reason to say yes, because sometimes he would have staff be like, well, this customer said blah, 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 and I told them no. And it's like, and he was always like, well, go back and tell them yes. Like, let's find if it's legal, if it's like, if his company had a lot of like state requirements, like if it's legal, if it follows the state requirements, find a way to say yes, like some sort of compromise, and what goes around comes around. So, all right, what is one last piece of advice that you'd like to give our listeners?
Hire a good wedding planner. Hire a good florist.
And hire a good florist.
Hire good vendors.
Check your when you're looking for vendors. Check your Google reviews. Go with somebody you just like too. You got to have you're with this person 6-9 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously, go with somebody you like working with.
Yeah.
Somebody you get along with, you mesh well. Obviously, look at the Google reviews, talk to friends, go with referrals, like talk to people that have used that person. Not saying you shouldn't take a chance on a florist starting out of their home, and some of them do amazing work and are extremely gifted, but just know that, those are the risks. We talked about that. Don't put a huge burden on your mother-in-law or your mom to set everything up.
I would say it's your day.
Yeah.
But it's a special day for the whole family. And so, a little asking for a favor here and there, but like I've seen, mother-in-laws doing stuff like sweating and this and that, and it's like that's not a fun
like
day.
This is a day that they've probably been dreaming about as well.
Yeah.
So let them live in that fantasy.
A little of that is fine. Like we want to help, as family members.
Yeah.
We want to help. We want to be a part of it, So a little of that's fine. But like, I just, in all fairness, I don't think a lot of people truly grasp the logistics.
No, they don't. They don't understand how much goes into it.
Right.
Because they've gone to Publix, picked up roses before and stuck it in a vase, called it a day. And it was great. It was gorgeous. And then they think that doing the arrangements is that easy, and it's not.
They see a bunch of flowers for $9.99 and think that all flowers are $9.99. And the thing is, like, grocery stores have contracts they're buying, like, what I talked about before, where the farm might have extra of something that they need to move out, and that's the stuff that's $9.99. It's different every week. It's not consistent. So you're a different kind of customer. You're picking X, Y, and Z. It has to be X, Y, and Z. It can't be LMNOP. So if you get lucky and X, Y, and Z is on sale, great for you. But it's you're not. That's very rare, or that's going to happen. Yeah,
I mean, two things that I always say that brides, which is, it's like no shame on them, but that they underestimate is the price of labor, or the value of labor, of the value of having people like, oh, well, there's a labor fee or a service fee. And I'm like, because it's a lot. It's a lot. So don't devalue the labor, and don't devalue like your stress level that day. If you've too much on your plate and your family, like, it's okay to pay someone to do it for you. And so you can actually enjoy your day, and it makes a huge difference.
Just like I said before, we have 3 guys working 12 hours. They're getting $25 an hour. That's $900. That's not including me and Heather. That's like 3 additional guys, porters, people that set up guys. That's $900 that that's on top of the price of the bouquet, the flowers, and the labor,
and on top of like the work that your designers did in the shop before the day of.
Like, it's not just when you do think about the price for flowers, don't think about just that wedding day. I've had the consultation with you maybe 6 months to a year in advance. I've been thinking about your wedding for 6 months.
Yeah. Your florist and your planner are having communication that you don't even know about.
Absolutely.
But going back and forth, like it all
email
adds
chains.
up.
I have like 30 email chains going on. I've been talking. We walk through all of the venues. So I do a walkthrough, plus the wedding planner does a walkthrough. The final consultation, contacting all the farms to get the flowers. Yeah, it's not just a one-day event. It is.
No, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
I will say that people have probably heard the trope that, if you tell the florist it's for a wedding, the price doubles. That's a pretty common trope. I can tell you that's not true in my shop. I don't know about other shops, but I can tell you that's not true in my shop. I don't mark up things because it's a wedding. Every customer is important to me, and yes, weddings are a little more work with the planning, a lot more work with the planning, but it's still just a big part of my business, and it's not something I'm just willy-nilly charging more for.
I've actually done the opposite. I've actually raised the prices of planning for my baby showers, bridal showers, whatever, because when I was first starting my business and I was kind of thinking maybe from the lens of a consumer, it's like, okay, I want some help planning a baby shower, but I don't want to pay a ridiculous price. It's not like it's the wedding day. And so originally I kind of thought who's going to pay this much for me to plan their baby shower or something. And I had that maybe a little lower than the wedding. And I've actually bumped up those prices to be maybe not the same as a wedding day, because the wedding day it's different than a baby shower, but I've did a few baby showers for way too cheap. And I was like, this is still the same amount of work as a wedding day. I still have to find the caterer and the venue and the this and the that. Right. And so there's another level for the wedding, and we are doing more for the wedding. But I mean, all events they're just a lot of work all the way around, which, not trying to complain. I love it. It's what I do, but trying to show the value in it, and that there's more behind the scenes than what people think,
Yeah, no, it's a lot. It's a lot, and just having competent people is a big part of it. I mentioned $25 an hour. That's the starting price for anybody that works on your wedding. Any less than that, your centerpiece isn't going to be in the middle of your table.
I've seen I'm
going to walk in. They're all going to be off center.
Yeah.
I'm precise. Yeah. When I'm on, I say on set.
Have you ever seen the planner Melissa Andre? She's a luxury celebrity planner, but I recently saw a video of her. The whole table had tapered candles all the way down with the glass, and she was making someone stand at the other side of the table with a measuring tape.
I do that.
I do, measuring every single thing.
I do, because if I'm one day I hope to be a bride as well, but I hope that the team I hire is doing that.
Being precise.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay. Well, it was so great having you guys on. Thank you so much. We chatted for a long time, so I'm sorry to keep you, but I really enjoyed chatting with you. Where can listeners find you? Obviously, Wellington Florist, you have your location in Wellington. You just opened up in Palm Beach Gardens.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We serve all of Palm Beach County. So, we go everywhere from Jupiter to Boca to Palm Beach to Belglade. We're the only florist that serves Belglade, which matters. Those good people out there. We have a location here in Palm Beach County. Just so you can stop in and pick something up real quick. In Palm Beach Gardens, where you can stop in and pick something up real quick. But if you're ever in Wellington, please stop by our store. It's 6,000 square feet. We have 35 employees. We have 1,000 square feet of cooler space. I'm happy to give anybody the tour that I gave you that one time. I love giving that tour.
It's really eye-opening.
Yeah, it really is.
It's really cool.
It's really neat to see what goes into a flower shop. I'm obviously passionate about it. I love what I do. Please come out and visit us. WellingtonFlorist.com. You can find us on all the socials under Wellington Florist.
Wellington Florist. Mm-hmm. Amazing. Well, thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you, Sydney.
Thank you,
This was so fun.